Okay, so we are back in this little corner of my room because literally the rest of my room is like covered in books because I'm getting ready to film my every single book that I own video. So there's like literally no room to walk. So we're up here for today. But yeah, we're just gonna go over my July wrap up. Yeah, July wrap up. I feel like I do this so often that the months get blurred in my head and I'm like, wait, what month are we at again? Oh, actually though, I didn't do a wrap up in June because I was out of town like around the end of June, the beginning of July. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna like bring out a wrap up on like July 10th. I'll just put everything together and bring it out in July. Well, in August for my July wrap up. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Before we get into it, if you're new here, my name is Mila. I make everything from college, lifestyle, bookish type content. So if that sounds fun, definitely hit the subscribe button and leave a thumbs up so I know that you enjoy these videos. All my socials are linked down below if you want to go check me out. And let's look at all the books that I read in June and July. So the first one I got to was a book that everyone read like last summer, but for some reason I didn't, and that is Every Summer After. I rated this, I feel like I'm going to go off the top of my head because I feel like when I do these videos, the rating that I have on the top of my head means more than the rating that I wrote down, that I just like wrote down. So Every Summer After, I rated it 4.5 stars, and this is basically the summer it's been pretty done right. It kind of has that like house of vibe, and that like, it's, in this case it's not like a beach town, it's like a lake town. There's like the family next door that has the two brothers, and I went in thinking it was going to be a love triangle, and I was like, but it's not. Like, how do I say this? Okay, it's not a love triangle. It's just not a love triangle, right? But a lot of aspects that I saw in The Summer I Turned Pretty, the ones that I didn't mind that much, because like from book 2, okay, but book 3, I'm like, I just had so many questions. But like the good aspects of The Summer I Turned Pretty I saw in this book. I feel this is also a more like mature version. So I feel like most people my age didn't really like The Summer I Turned Pretty. Like, we liked book 1, but then book 2, 3, it's like, what is going on? If you enjoyed book 1 in The Summer I Turned Pretty, you're gonna enjoy this because like same vibes. Next I did a little reading vlog, and I read summery thrillers for a week. So the first one I read was The Lake by Natasha Preston, and I rated this 3.25 stars. So this is a YA thriller, and I did like the setting because it's set at a summer camp. There are these two girls who were there when they were kids. Something bad happened and now they're coming back, and I did like the setting because I feel like I've never really seen stuff set in summer camp for like thrillers, and I did like the feeling of anxiety and just like the build up that the author like showed us. But then also I feel like it was too predictable, but the ending, like the ending, I was not expecting that. Like, I don't know what happened. It did a full like 180, and I did like how it ended, like the open ending, just how everything happened. Like, I really liked the ending, but from when we found out who the person actually was, I don't know, like I have very mixed feelings about the whole ending sequence. But just for the setting and everything, I decided to do this 3.25 stars, and also because I really liked like everything that happened that I wasn't expecting to happen. Next, I read my first ever Alice Feeney book, and oh my god, like I understand why people rave about her. So I read Daisy Darker, and I rated this 4.5 stars. The only thing that I didn't like about this was, how do I say this? I really liked like 80% of the book. I was like, this is gonna be like 5 stars, 4.75 stars. And then there's like, I think there was like 3 like reveal plot twist things. Ugh, it's been a while since I read this, but I think one of them, I was like jaw on the floor. I was like shocked. I was gasping. I was like, what the hell? The second one I think also, but like one of them I was like, what? Not that it was like bad, but I feel like it was the fact that I wasn't expecting it that kind of like threw me off, and like it didn't wreck my enjoyment of the story. But I definitely noticed that I wasn't, not that I wasn't as much into it, but I wasn't like oh my god, I'm loving this after I found that out. But then once we got to the reveal, I did like look back and I was like looking at all the moments where it's like if you were paying attention, you could tell that something was off. And I remember thinking something's off. So I really like that aspect about the book. But let me like tell you what this is about. So there's this girl called Daisy, and her grandmother is having everyone over for a dinner. So you have her sisters, her parents, they all come to this house on like an isolated island. And how this island works is that there's like a road, but at night there's like water that covers the road. So you can only like leave the island and drive into the island, stuff like that during the day. So you have everyone who comes in and then they start having dinner. Then turns out, I just want to make sure I don't like spoil anything, then turns out the grandmother dies, right? And then it's like those type of thrillers where everyone dies in a way. Like it's like a checklist to like get everyone. And the way that it's done, like I really enjoyed it, because at some point like they were talking about oh, if I were to commit like murder, I would do this. Ever someone was like, oh, like if it was up to me, I would do this, right? I really liked how some people said they would commit murder was what happened, is like the way that other characters got killed. I really love that. And like the poems and stuff like that, I really love the creepiness of this book. But just like the, I think second plot twist, I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. I still really enjoyed it. I feel like it's definitely like a me thing, because like I've read other thrillers that kind of had this in it and I liked it, because I feel like the reason why I didn't like this like insanely much, wow, that made absolutely no sense. I feel like the reason why I wasn't like enamored by this was because it was my first time seeing it, I wasn't expecting it. But I honestly 100% recommend. It was so good and I can't wait to read more Alice Feeney. I feel like I'm talking so much. Like my camera literally says 12 minutes and I'm like, we did 3 books. Like what? Next, I read The Cousins by Karen M. McManus and I rated this 3.25 stars. So in this book, you have 3 cousins who they've met, but only when they were like really young. So they don't really like know each other. And then their grandmother, who cut off like the entire family, sends them letters asking them to come to her little like resort island for a summer job. So all these cousins go, and it's not really a thriller, because for most of the book it's just like seeing them navigating life on the island and like working their job. There's a twist in this book that I wasn't expecting at all. I think I thought of it like in passing and I was like, oh, what if this? And that's what happened, and I was like, oh my god, I love it, because like wow. And I feel like for that twist, I boosted up the rating. What did I say it was? 3.25 or 3.5? Like, I feel like that boost brought it up to a 3.25. But overall, it wasn't really a thriller. It was just like, I don't know. I feel like there was definitely something missing from this. Like, I really did like the twist. But compared to, like, One of Us is Lying and One of Us is Next, not much happened. So I was kind of, like, disappointed. But still, the ending, like the little twists and the ending, that I really did enjoy. The last book I read for that video was my first ever Riley Sager book, and that's The House Across the Lake. Oh my god, if you've read this, like you know what I'm talking about, because you have these like flashbacks, right? So you see, like the book starts off like in the present, and then you go to the past and you come back to the present. I'm gonna say this because it's like literally the first like two pages. But the book starts off and like our main character, she's talking to the cops, like the cop leaves, and then you find out that she has a guy tied up like upstairs because she's trying to like find out what he did. And then every single time that the flashback ends, we get back to the present, you always think that it's a different person who she has tied up, just because of like how the story is. Like you're on your toes for the entire time. You never understand what's going on. It's so creepy. And like reading this in a lake house, like I wish I had read this in a lake house, because the vibes, like this is so good. That's all I want to tell you about it. Please go read that. 4.75 stars. I loved. The last book I read in June was The Royals Next Door, and I rated this 3.25 stars. Like I did like that this was set in Canada. Let me tell you what it's about. So there's this girl, she lives in a little island. I feel like when you say island, it feels like tropical, but like an island off of Canada, right? So like not exactly tropical. And then she lives in a kind of like secluded area of this island. And then one day you have the royals from England who move into the house next to them, and then with them comes their bodyguard. And I really like how they met. Like she was trying to get home, and then her bodyguard was like, who are you? I need your ID. I need your like stuff like that. And she's like, so the meeting was like very messy, and I love that. And then you just see them like starting to get to know each other and stuff like that. And I did enjoy this, but I feel like it honestly kind of really didn't do much for me. Like I expected more. But I think it was a pretty good bodyguard romance, and yeah, 3.25 stars. Then I went to Costco with one of my friends because we were going to a lake house and we were like, okay, like let's buy everything from Costco. And I'm like, let me look for books in Costco. Wow, I have a piece of hair that's like not cooperating. And I was like, let me look for books in Costco. I found Love Theoretically for 13 Canadian dollars in Costco. That is a good price. Like, that is a really good price. So Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood, it literally came out like a month ago or something like that. And I love Ali Hazelwood. Like, something that you guys like maybe don't know about me is that I'm like an engineering major, so anything like sciencey, I like gravitate to it and I like latch onto it. Like, I love these like little like sciencey things and like everything. And just the fact that all of her books are about like engineers or like scientists and stuff like that, I find it so refreshing. It's so different from like other people because you never really see that in other books. And like, especially since like the sciencey aspect, I guess you could say, is like a huge part of my life. Like, I love reading this in books. And oh my god, Elsie and Jack, I love them. So if you don't know what this is about, you have Elsie, who she's working as like, how do I say this, like not really a TA but not really a prof. Like, she teaches but she's not really a prof, but she's like above a TA, you know, but she really doesn't like her position. And then she finds out that there's an opening for Harvard, I don't know, but like a very like prestigious job. I want to say Harvard, but I can be completely wrong. And she meets someone who's like, I think like the interviewer or something like that, and she's like you're my ideal candidate. Like, I want you to get the show. I want you on the team, right? So she goes, she meets other scientists there. It's like the whole interview, like, we don't know who we're gonna pick process. It's you with the other person, so let's see like how you fit into this. And then she finds out that wait, you guys need more like backstory. Okay, so she has a little like side business. Well, she does something on the side like to earn more money because her job doesn't pay like that well, and she's like a girlfriend for hire in a way, right? And one of her clients has a brother who she really does not like, and then guess who is gonna be like kind of her boss? It's kind of like a very important scientist on the team that I feel like I'm explaining this really badly, but like a scientist in the group that she's supposed to be like hired to, that she really wants to be hired to. I really hope this is making sense. He's her client's brother who she hates. I don't want to say more, but it's like, it's so good. Like, I honestly haven't read another Ali Hazelwood book. I was always expecting to read The Love Hypothesis first, but my friend borrowed it like last year and she still hasn't given it back to me. So I didn't read Love on the Brain, and then I was like, you know what, I just want to, oh my god, I completely lost my train of thought. But anyway, Love Theoretically, Ali Hazelwood, 4.25 stars, super, super, super good. After that, I read a very, very highly anticipated book, Twisted Love. I don't know why it took me so long to read Twisted Love, and like going in, I had expectations that I thought it was gonna go one way. I was expecting something. It was what I expected, but then it was like so much more, and I love it. I love Alex. I love Ava. I love just like everyone who you meet. And basically, this story, so you have Ava and you have her brother Josh. So Josh is leaving town, I think for a medical thing, because he's a doctor or a resident, and he asks his friend Alex to watch over her to make sure that she's like doing okay, she's like safe and everything, because her ex is like a little off, right? You have Ava and her friends who kind of like make a pact to like have Alex show that he's like a person, he has feelings, he's like, he has a personality and stuff like that. So they try a bunch of different things, and then he like finds out about this like fear that she has, and he helps her conquer it. And then, oh my god, like that was, I feel like, what I expected. What I did not expect was the whole like, I'm like after my parents' killer, and just like the complicatedness of that plot. Like, I'm gonna tell you is that there's a little like, oh, like my parents were like murdered, I'm gonna find their killer. I feel like that's not advertised in the book, but I feel like knowing that, I would have been like, oh my god, I have to do this like so much sooner. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm not gonna tell you everything else, but it gets complicated. Like that plot line, I'm not gonna say anything else because I feel like that's what I love the most about it, and that's kind of like what made me really want to like go back into Mafia. But I'm like, it's summer, like read your summer romances, don't go into Mafia. But Twisted Love, 4.5 stars, so good, 100% recommend if you have not yet read it. After that, I read Mary Jane because I feel like this was like a very like easy, just easy, fun read for the summer, and I rated this I think 3 stars. Yeah, 3 stars. So basically, this book follows a 14-year-old girl called Mary Jane, and you see life in the 70s, 2 different views, the more like conservative, the more like liberal view, not in terms of like politics, but in terms of like how you present yourself and stuff like that. Honestly, I would not have read it if it wasn't for a video that I'm filming. Like, I'm happy that I read it because it was good, but honestly, I feel like it didn't really do for me what it did for the person who recommended it. But if you're looking for a beach read, it's like super easy. Like, you don't have to put like that much thought into it. There's not really a plot, you're just following like the characters. So super easy beach read. Like, you can read it in a week if you're in like a beach town or something like that. And I feel like that's when I would have preferred to read it than just at home. So I feel like I was like, okay, but nothing's happening. And it's not like a Sally Rooney book where like, yeah, nothing really happens, it's just the characters. But there was like more, or just like I felt that more was happening than here. So that's why I did like Normal People so much more than this. But it still wasn't a bad book. Like, I rated it 3 stars, and I just honestly, I wish I would have like read this when I was tanning or at a beach, because I feel like I would have enjoyed it a tiny bit more. So this next one, I haven't seen anyone talk about it like at all, but I remember going on Book Outlet and I saw this book and I was like, let's see what it's about. I read the summary and I was like, oh my god, this actually sounds really good. So I picked up Where Dreams Ascend, and I don't know why no one talks about it because it's so good. Like, it's so good. Like, the summary, it made me interested, but it didn't prepare me for the amazingness that was this book. So basically, you have this girl Kalia, and she's a showgirl with her magic. She performs at this type of like club in a way, with her partner, mentor, Jack, right? And then one day she finds out about this like contest for magicians in, not exactly like next town over because she's not from the town, it's just like a house in the forest, but like the closest town. And she's like, I want to go. Jack is like, absolutely not. And throughout the whole book, you're like, okay, but he goes there, so why can't she go there? Like, what's going on? And you didn't really get a complete answer in this book, but I feel like, I don't know, I have my theories on Jack because this is a duology, right? I've read the first book, I didn't read the second book yet. But yeah, she goes to this town, and then when she first gets there, she meets someone who kind of like helps her prepare for the show, so that he becomes her assistant. And then you have DeMarco, who is a judge, and I love their little like enemies to lovers vibe that they have going on. It's just how everything blossoms. It's a slow burn, but it's done so well. Like, so it's like stuff happens in her shows because of like Jack and how he saves her, how he just, it's just so good. Like, I don't want to tell you more, but it's just like an enemies to lovers in the sense that they're like cold to each other at first, but oh my god, like when they get together for the first time, I'm like screaming. I'm like, I love this. And then the ending, if you've read Ninth House, the ending, or like not the ending, but it's like a part of this book reminded me of Ninth House, and I absolutely love Ninth House. Like, I don't want to tell you more because I feel like if you read Ninth House, I'm gonna spoil this for you. If you've read this and you haven't read Ninth House, I'm gonna spoil Ninth House for you. But there's an aspect that I saw in both of these books, and just the fact that Ninth House is like literally my favorite book ever. Having it in here made me love it, and I rated this 4.75 stars. I'm so excited to read book 2. After that, I read A Cute Summer Romance because it was like a while. It was like a pretty like heavy fantasy book. So I read The Summer Job by Lizzie Dent, and I rated this 3 stars. So this book takes place in Scotland, and you have this girl, Birdie, who is kind of like short on money. Life isn't going like very well for her, and her friend Heather got this really good job at this like, not resort, but like a hotel restaurant type thing in Scotland, right? But Heather's like, you know what, I don't want to go, like I'd rather go to Italy with my boyfriend. So Birdie said, okay, like I can call them, I can cancel it for you, and then she completely forgot. So she's like, you know what, I need money, might as well go there. So she goes there, she pretends to be Heather, and one thing that I really liked about this book is that I feel like in other books where you pretend to be someone else, there isn't really like the motivation that Birdie has to perfect her skills or just like really show that she knows what she's talking about, because like she was doing research, she was like telling people like, no, I can't hang out with you because I really have to like do other things. So I really admire that, because I feel like other books like this like don't really have that aspect. And then James was absolutely adorable. Like, I know in most of these things you have the whole like, okay, we don't like really like each other at first when we meet, but her and James like clicked instantly and it just felt natural. You could really feel the chemistry. So really like this. My camera's about to die and I'm gonna like scream because I have so much to film today. But let's like rapid fire through the last 3 books. We have Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. I rated this 4.5 stars. You know how everyone says like don't go into this expecting like a light romance? Really don't, because like even though I knew not to expect that, I was still like shook. I was like, oh my god, like this is actually happening. Basically you have Iris who is dating a basketball player called Caleb, and then you have Gus. So they first meet the night before a big game for Gus and for Caleb, I think. And Iris and him meet, and it's just like natural and just like you can tell that they have chemistry. It was such a cute meeting. And then she tells him at the end of the night, I have a boyfriend, right? And then later on he finds out that it's Caleb. And then you just like see their life from there. And what I really liked about August is that he was always there for Iris like throughout the years, but never in a way that was like imposing, you know. He was always like respectful towards her, and I feel like in other books it's always like imposing or like just like always there. But him, he was like there but at a distance. So it's like if she needs me, she's gonna come to me. Like I'm always gonna care for her, but I'm not gonna be like in her bubble like circling her, which I really loved about this. The ending, I was like, what the hell? I was like shook by the ending, but I really like, given what this was about, I really enjoyed how it was like handled, and I really like this book. So 4.5 stars. Next we have Jock Row by Sarah Nay. So this is a sports romance. It's a baseball romance, which I've never read before. A little complaint that I have about this book is that I kind of like wish there was more sport, because like they very briefly talk about it, so it kind of felt more like a college romance. But one thing that I really did like is how it was written, because it's written like every single Friday night when his house like hosts a party. Because what happens the first time is that the guys who her friends are talking to at the party don't really like her, so she gets kicked out by the guy, and then they start talking on the porch, and it's like this every single Friday. So I like how it's like they see each other every Friday at the party, and it's like an understanding that they're gonna spend the whole night on the porch talking. I'm sorry, I'm trying to go really fast to like finish this before my camera dies, but I really like this. I rated it 4 stars. It's super cute, and the guy's an absolute golden retriever. And lastly, we have Survive the Night by Riley Sager. A lot of people hate this book, like absolutely hate this, but I thought it was actually really good. But I feel like also like going into it knowing that the main character is like very stupid made it more enjoyable. How do I say this? I liked the twist. I liked the whole messiness, like the whole like Riley Sager-ness of this book. I feel like if it was any other thriller author who wrote something like this, it wouldn't be as good as him, but I feel like just because it was him, it was good. And I don't think it deserves a bad rating. Like I rated this 4 stars. I think it was really good. Like it got me hooked. I wanted to know what happened next. It's all the little creepy things that I absolutely love about it. Like I rated it 4 stars because I thought it was like really good. I don't know why it like people hate it. It's like, yeah, I understand. Like why would you put yourself in a situation like this given what's going on? But like besides that, like it's good. Like it's a good book. Those are all the books I read in June and July. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you did, definitely leave a thumbs up and let me know down below which books you either read in June, July and you absolutely loved, something you hated, which you plan to read in August. And if you have any like differing opinions on these books, let me know also, because like I love just like talking about like opinions on books. Like if you guys read Survive the Night and you hate it, let me know why, because I don't understand. Like I genuinely do not understand. Yeah, so that's gonna be all. Stay safe, protect your vibe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys.